Okay, so this is a very short demonstration of how to make use of Premiere to create your dancing video out of the 60 frame of the images that you have prepared. So before we begin, we first need to make sure you already have the images ready in a folder. And all the images are sequenced from like 001 to 060 in my case. And this is the folder that we're going to create the Premiere project. Okay, so we're going to create a new project. And then we need to choose the project location in our own computer in the desktop at this moment, which is the dance exercise. And then you can give it a name for the project. So now we are going to create the project. So most of the time I would like to recommend you that to create make use of the workspace of editing, and which will be a little bit more effective to edit your images or video. So the other thing we're going to do is to import the image sequence. So we need to choose from the desktop and the dance exercise and also in the image folder. And in order to make sure that it's the image sequence that we are using, we need to select the first one and then click the show options and make sure to check the image sequence in order for Premiere to sequence the image from the beginning to the end. Then we can import. After we import, so we can see there's some default frame rates around here. So in order to be a little bit lazy, usually we may want to reduce the frame rate from like 24 or 25 or 30 to something a little bit less. Okay, to do so, we can click this one from the import area and we make use of the clip and then modify the clip to interpolate the footage. And then in the frame rate, other than using the 25, that we can use, for example, like 10 frames per second, which is the smallest one that we can have for our sequence for editing later. Then we can choose OK. And then we can drag it here to have a look. Okay, and the next step that we're going to do the timeline around here, that is sequence. So we're going to create a new sequence. And since we are not using some of the default settings, so we're going to create one of our own using custom. And then we choose the smallest one, the 10 frames per second. The images that I created for the testing or for your exercise is the high end one. It's 1920 and 1080 and call this the square pixel. And we're going to keep the following, and for the sound we don't have sound at this moment, that we just leave it with the default setting and then OK. So that will be the sequence that we are going to do for editing. So the editing is minimal. We just put it there and then export everything into an MP4. So we're going to drag this one from this window, source window, and put it in the sequence. And since our sequence is very, very short, so we may need to adjust the slider around here to make it a little bit more easy to select. So that is the sequence that we have. So in the editing window, we can also preview to have a look. That is our dance sequence for one of the groups. And then we can save the project again, then make sure we are selecting this one from the sequence, and then we're going to export the media. And by default, it will be in the same folder that you create your project, and then you can give it a name. So I just leave it as dance exercise 01 MP4 for the first output, and then you can just click export at this moment. So this is the output setting that with the high band and 10 frames per second. And since we only have just 60 frames, it will be pretty fast to save everything. And then we can quit Premiere and then go back to our folder, and you can now play this one to have a look. So that is what we have done with our dance sequence. Okay, so that's it. Thank you.